Hey, what's up guys, it's Unleashed here. Today, we are back with another video on Sonic Frontiers. Well, actually, technically Sonic Frontiers and potentially Sonic Frontiers 2. Because in today's video, we have yet again some more tweets from the director of Sonic Frontiers, Morio Kishimoto. And he's been saying some very interesting things about both Sonic Frontiers and potentially the game after Sonic Frontiers. So, without any further ado, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, let's take a look at the news at hand. Onto Twitter, we Sonic Rush. So here we have a tweet from Psycho Lee. Hello Morio Kishimoto. I would like to ask you two questions. Is there anything you would like to change or add to the Boost gameplay in future 3D Sonic games? Also, what's your favourite Frontiers giant boss theme? I can't speak Japanese, so I'm sorry if the translation is bad. And then once again, the man, the myth, the legend, Morio Kishimoto actually replies to this person. When I started working on this game, I thought a lot about whether or not it would be possible, and decided to hire Boost. Yeah, obviously this is not perfect translation here. I'm still thinking of trying a Sonic game that doesn't use Boost in my next game. My favourite giant bosses are the first and second ones. Oh, god damn it Kishimoto. God damn it, I mean, I know Giganto, Wyvern, both great bosses, but come on. Night is where it's at. Come on. All my homies love Night. Night gang, rise up. Right, anyways, so yeah, Kishimoto said that in the future, potentially, he's gonna try and retire the Boost formula. And even at one point in time, he was considering doing something different to the Boost formula, or just changing it or something, I'm not too sure here. But the fact is that Kishimoto's been working on 3 Boost games now, Colors, Forces, and Frontiers, so he might be getting a bit tired of the Boost formula and wants to kind of switch things up for the next game, so yeah, he's going to try and switch things up a bit and potentially Adventure formula, and with these next tweets, I think we're going to kind of head to that direction. Because as you can see right here, from Bruce Loves Sonic, I'm sure he does, why can't they add Spin Dash and Boost at the same time? I think that would be fire. And Kishimoto responds, of course I understand the benefits of Boost. Please be assured that we will also experiment with the coexistence of Boost and Spin Dash. However, I also have a feeling that I want to challenge the level design with that Boost like the Adventure series. After all, the Adventure series is a legend. Alright then, so Kishimoto, he wants to try out the Adventure formula then it seems. Well, actually not technically the Adventure formula just yet, because he says he wants to try a level design without the Boost like the Adventure formula. Not necessarily like the Adventure formula as in using the actual Adventure formula, but in the sense that Adventure formula didn't have Boost, it was more Spin Dash based. So if the next game isn't going to have the Adventure formula, then we're going to get something different from the Boost, or rather, something alongside the Boost. And Kishimoto has done some things different to the Boost formula as well. I mean, we've got Lost Worlds, that's sort of an Adventure formula with the Boost, but also the parkour in there. Then we got the storybook games, were those really Boost games? I mean, they had the Boost in there with the Soul Gauge kind of, but it wasn't really necessarily based around the Boost entirely. So yeah, Kishimoto, he has some experience outside of the Boost, and to me personally, I don't think Lost World was a terrible attempt at the Spin Dash. I mean, it did essentially just kind of act like an infinite boost, sort of, because you just Spin Dash and then it holds it and then it never runs out. There was all kind of momentum working in it like the Adventure games or anything like that. It was kind of a reskinned Boost in a way. I mean, it makes even more sense for the fact that Super Sonic has a Boost in that game and pretty much works identical to the Spin Dash. Well, sort of. Not entirely the same, but sort of the same anyways. But the thing is about Lost World stages is that even though they had the Spin Dash in there, I don't think they really took advantage of the Spin Dash in its level design. I mean, in Lost World in particular, it's kind of hard to put any sort of momentum in there because of the way the gravity works in that game. More of a spherical thing, and yeah, not really any sort of proper gravity and momentum or anything like that. So even though Kishimoto has some experience with some sort of Spin Dash, it's not really like the Adventure games at all. Like, the thing about this is that while it's nice to have the Spin Dash there, if the game doesn't utilize it, it's kind of useless essentially. It's essentially kind of like one of those mods, for example, like chucking 06 Sonic in Mortal kind of from Forza, for example. While yes, you have the Spin Dash there, the stage and level design doesn't really work for the Spin Dash. And that is kind of my worry here. The fact that they have the Spin Dash there but not utilize it to its full potential. Like, the fun part about Adventure 1 and Adventure 2 is that you could use the Spin Dash and make some crazy skips. For example, Red Mountain. That is such a great stage in Adventure 1 because of the Spin Dash there. Using it to get to some hidden areas, using it to get massive chunks of the stage. I mean, Red Mountain was actually just a really good stage, man. But the reason it was so great is not just because it had the Spin Dash there, but because level design actually utilized the Spin Dash properly. You know, we're going back to Lost World as an example. While yes, the parkour is actually fun, it's not really utilized all that much to its full potential in Lost World. Like, at all. Like, there are many ways you can actually use it, but a lot of it is kind of pointless or the unintended way. And that is honestly my biggest problem with having the spin dash in the next game. Can Kishimoto actually utilize it to its full potential? I don't expect him to nail it straight away, not in the slightest. But that doesn't mean I want it to be terrible. Now, I hope he doesn't do something in Frontiers 2, whatever it's going to be, where Cyberspace or the equivalent in that game, since it's going to have the spin dash, he goes and reuses level design from the adventure games rather than the boost games. I hope he doesn't do that. Like, having those levels return would be cool, but if you're going to have those levels actually return, then just put it in an adventure remake. Like, just do it, man. They've already shown in Frontiers on Uranus Island with Cyberspace there that they can make some genuinely good level design there with 4-4, 4-2, 4-3, 4-5, so just do that same thing for the adventure formula. Like, Kishimoto take some notes from obviously the adventure games, and by taking notes, I don't mean go straight up and just rip the level design from those stages. Don't do that. By taking notes, I mean just the ideas and the philosophies that the adventure games had in terms of level design. I mean, with the boost being so slow in Frontiers, they kind of have some sort of idea how to make level design for a slower Sonic, so if you just turn that into the adventure formula, then boom, make the level design cater to the spin dash, and then we're pretty much solid, to be honest with you. Now, of course, while the adventure formula is pretty good, the boost formula does still have its pros. For example, with the boost formula, you just really feel like Sonic, like that sense of speed is just always there. And when the boost has been given some great design like Generations and Unleashed, it can feel honestly just fantastic. Like, getting that perfect run in the boost games is just really, really satisfying. Like, when you're beating Eggman Land in about 10 minutes, or beating Planet Wisp from Sonic Generations in like under 4 minutes, you feel a great sense of completion. And for stuff like that, I think that the boost formula actually works a lot better than the adventure formula. And it's for this reason as to why I don't think they should just abandon the boost formula entirely, like just like that. But maybe, like Kishimoto has already said here, they can try have some sort of game where they have both the adventure formula and the boost formula in one game. I think that could be pretty cool. Like, maybe have the open zone be the boost formula and then have Cyberspace be the adventure formula, or even vice versa. Actually, if it's vice versa, I think that could work actually really well, because if they use an adventure formula in the open zone, that would mean they would have to make it as big, because obviously it's not the boost formula where you can just run across things in like a matter of seconds, because the adventure formula isn't nearly as fast as the boost, but still a fairly paced style. And then if you just chuck the boost into the Cyberspace levels or whatever it's going to be, you can make some really satisfying levels with the boost formula that people actually want. Now, obviously, you could have both in one, but I think for Cyberspace in particular, it wouldn't really work there, because the way that the boost formula and the adventure formula work, they don't really go into one style of stage. Like, the boost is better for more linear pathways, and then the adventure formula is more for open areas. So if you had the boost and the adventure formula in like one stage, they would kind of clash a bit there, unless you kind of segregate each of the boost sections and then the adventure formula sections, kind of like Sonic 06 and Sonic Heroes in a way. Like, say for example you have some sort of linear corridor with some enemies in there, you can use the boosters blast right through them. And then say you have some more tight platforming sections or whatever with some big gaps so you don't really want to miss, you could potentially just use a spin dash or whatever there. I think that could work quite well. But if it's not going to work like that, then I think another way that it could work is just having like separate stages entirely, like having a certain boost stage, then have another stage have the spin dash in there, and just keep switching between them for different stages and whatever. I think that could work quite well, like have different stages be focused on that one specific formula, allowing the stage to be a lot more fleshed out. But I don't know, maybe that could feel a bit weird to the player where they have a stage that you want to use a spin dash in, but they can't, and be a bit confusing. So in that regard, maybe the first option would work a lot better, but I'm just looking at a lot of ideas here, to be honest with you. I mean, I think we got into a point where the boost form is feeling a bit stale in terms of level design, not much you can do. I mean, Izuka's even said in the past that they think that the boost form has had its run now, and they don't really know how to evolve it even further, so it might be time to go full adventure formula then. Anyways, that about does it for today's video. So yes, Kishimoto said that he wants to potentially retire the boost formula in favour of more adventure style things, or possibly even have them coexist in the same game, which could be pretty interesting. But what do you guys think of this news? Do you think that the boost formula and adventure formula could coexist in the same game? Let me know down below. I'd love to see what you guys have to say. I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, especially that last one. Don't forget to become Unleashed, pressing that join button down below. And remember, it's not necessary. And I will see you all next time. Peace!